New this summer, join us for Backstage Pass, a look behind the scenes of Tibbits Summer Theater. We're going to find out everything that goes into the productions that we do here under Professional Summer Stock. Through the course of the summer, you will meet every member of the cast and crew. You'll get to see some of our old favorites who have been here year after year and meet some of our newcomers. I think you'll have a fun time. We're having a fun time sharing with you everything that's part of Tibbits Summer Theater. Watch social media and join us for Backstage Pass.
The Best of Broadway, we know that our Tibbits audiences love Broadway, right? So we wanted to give you something really special and something that we hadn't really done before. I conceived it as sort of a musical history lesson about how Broadway came to be, the beginnings, the birth of Broadway, and how it sort of evolved to be what it is today. So we sort of start at the sort of origins of Broadway, and then it all goes through all of the golden age of musicals, and then all the way through the 70s up to Hamilton.
Seasons of love.
So when we first started trying to put together the set, we challenged with like, how do we visually represent and support the concept of the show, and what we came up with was sort of, using the show posters from over the years. Do you want to tell what sort of happened from there?
Well, from there, Charles reminded us that we wanted to have the old versus the new. So with a lot of the old posters, we went back to the originals that had more of the creams and the yellows and just little pops of color, like a little bit of red here and there.
Because printing back at the time, you only had your choice of a few colors, and so it really ended up helping us support showing the evolution, because you also see it in the art for the posters over the decades. And so it's a really cool combination of the old and the new, which is exactly what the show is. So,
and that's brought through not only in the posters and the set itself, but through the boxes that we're using in order for us to sit or create other different levels too.
Right. And then behind it, we didn't just want to throw a bunch of posters out there, so we wanted to give something that gave us a feeling of the environment that we're into. So we have this really cool cityscape sort of behind it and sort of looming over it, so that, when it's lit up, it's going to be really cool. And so it will give us a whole sort of environment.
Stephanie and I are about to meet about the Best of Broadway set. She designed it, and we're going to talk about the skyline. I did a design for it based off of our marketing images of the skyline. We need to place it relative to all of our posters and talk about the painting and the light boxes for it. And then when we build it, we're going to cut the silhouette out of cardboard and lay out where we want our light boxes. We'll jigsaw and router cut those out and build little light boxes out of 1x material to place behind them and fill with either Christmas lights or LED tape. We'll also have a 2x4 frame behind it. The posters are going to be center stage at the back. They're a collection of the posters for some of the shows that you'll get to hear the music from. I'm sitting on top of a giant piece of fabric I've stretched over a spare flat we had, and I am painting the Tibbits Summer Theater logo on it, designed by our wonderful
Graphic designer.
Matt. And so I'm painting it by hand. It's going to be about 14 feet wide and 6 feet tall. And I think it's coming together well. The fabric, when I'm done painting it, is going to be stretched onto some frames that I built and stood up on either side of our set at the ponds to act as the masking to create wings. It's basically going to be our proscenium.
So I'm going to start off talking about the best of Broadway. Obviously, that's what's brought the two of you together. What don't people know about a show like this and how it has to come together and how you make it happen?
We spent a number of meetings over the phone. Actually, I was in New York City, Charles was here in Michigan, and probably back in March, right?
Yep.
Was when we started talking. And there were a number of weeks of toing and froing over, what shows we would choose.
Right.
Of the 100
They
years.
can't all be love songs. They can't all be dance numbers. They can't all be comedy numbers. You want some of each of those. And so that you really choose that, so that when you have a Brooks, let's use her high voice here, let's use her belt voice here, on and on, so that that sort of informed what we chose.
So it certainly helped you knowing who you had coming back.
Absolutely.
Most of our cast is returning. We've got one new member of the cast.
Who sent us tapes so that we knew his voice.
So how challenging to decide then? I mean, it was a lot of back and forth.
It is a
There's
big jigsaw
pretty much-
puzzle, yeah. It is a big jigsaw puzzle between the genres, the coverage of the composers. We don't want too much Rodgers and Hammerstein. We have Cole Porter. Where can we fit in Irving Berlin?
I insisted we had to have Rodgers and Hart.
Yeah.
They were huge, so you need at least one song there. So that, but that, it seemed like it went pretty easily in where it was. And again, the initial list that Peter gave us, we actually crossed out a lot of those with his blessing when we said, oh, this song doesn't stand alone. We don't want any of those songs that are so embedded in the show that you have to have a paragraph of what it's about to make it make sense.
Can you share with us a little bit about the flow then of the show?
We start with Give My Regards to Broadway. So it's actually 1903, George M. Cohen, the only time he's represented in the show. And it then just sort of rolls along that we hit the 20s and it's Showboat and it's No No Nanette. We are into the 30s and suddenly it's Cole Porter and Rodgers and Hart. And Rodgers and Hammerstein then crops up instantly with Oklahoma. It really does just sort of flow from one to the other. There's no stopping and starting telling people what it is. They will know pretty much what it is until we get to perhaps in Act 2, and then we'll have sheets actually available at the box office saying, that was Dear Evan Hansen. So that for those people that want to know what it is.
Yeah, and we have such versatile singers that we're able to sort of add, we've augmented certain songs that people know as solos into a beautiful trio for our three ladies, or excellent duets for the two of the guys in the cast from some Sondheim. So it's been interesting kind of just adding with all the voices we have. As a music director, that's one of the best parts, is being able to augment creatively to the whole canon of music.
I would say sometimes we do the song just as it is in the show, and sometimes we're doing it in a very different way. So, it will be an interesting way to hear very familiar things in a slightly different fashion.
it's time to sleep.
And when push comes to shove, I will kill your friends and family to remind you of my love. Da 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 da. Everybody. Da 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 da. I wish I were in love again. No more pain.